iUsask or any other application in the future that can send us an authenticated student, they can see that same information. So, and we can move on. All right, so I talked a bit about the Blackboard. What we did was we were, through the MyMarks APIs, we were able to retrieve students' coursework grades from Blackboard and then send them into our central database. So we initially tried to use we're currently using CanHeit and we're moving to Learn 9. And we attempted to use the APIs provided from CanHeit and we weren't able to get the information we needed based on an authenticated student. So we ended up going directly to the database. And with this design that we have, with everything communicating through the APIs into the database, when we're in the process of moving to Learn 9, it'll be very easy for us to then, from Learn 9, communicate with those same APIs and get the same results. So even though we're going to have to do a bit of work, it's not going to be the same as reinventing the wheel because we're just able to connect in the same way. Can you move on? And the grades from Banner, as I mentioned, we have an operational data store where the grades, the midterm grades and final grades, these are the ones that are a requirement by the university. And they are stored in an operational data store, and that is where we get access to those grades for students. So this provides, with the Blackboard and then these final grades, it provides one place for the students to access all their grades. So the Luminus portal didn't have, in the course tools, there wasn't a way for instructors to enter what we were calling interim marks or coursework grades, assignments, labs, any kind of feedback that the instructor wants to give, whether it's participation, into there so that the students can get access to that online. So we actually created a brand new application we're calling Postmarks. And we used Adobe Flex to do this. And it allows the instructor access from the course tools, and it brings, oh, I can go to the next page, yeah. It'll open up a window like this here, and then you can add new assignments, and you can copy and paste from an Excel file into this grid here, and you can enter it by the student ID or by NSID, which is basically the student's network services ID. And so you can choose which way you want to do it, paste them all in at once, and post it, and it's there for the students to access. Once they've been entered in, you can also edit them and change them, delete them, whatever you need to do from there. You can also, of course, edit and remove assignments and that kind of thing as well. So as soon as the grades are posted in here, they're accessible to the students. All right. So this is what the feed coming out of the database looks like, and this is in our Luminus portal. As you can see, we've got the term 1 and term 2 grades, so we show grades from the current term and one term previous. And you just expand it down and you see the art class and the assignment and then the comment down from there. And if we go to the next slide, I took screenshots from iUsask, which we just actually saw, and it's the exact same feed going from the Luminus portal to iUsask, and other applications in the future, if they want to use the same feed, they'll get the same information that way, so we can, it's really expandable. So I guess I went through that pretty quick.
So there is enough time, so there's a quick video I'll show you. Yeah. And
ABC News, Saskatoon.
Sorry about that. Should have had it queued up. So this just gives you an idea of some of the excitement that has been around the actual class and the app itself, our campus, and actually just everywhere.
Smartphones and smart students. It's a growing complaint among university professors. Students ignoring their lectures while surfing the net on handheld gadgets. But one university is actually encouraging students to find new uses for their iPhones. In fact, it's a course requirement. CBC's Cameron McIntosh has more.
There's a photo of you.
Like a lot of students, it's not hard for Francis Chari to get consumed by his iPhone. He has good reason.
Welcome to another class of Computer Science 298.
Here at the University of Saskatchewan, the iPhone is not just a pastime, It's a credit course, the first of its kind in Canada.
Everybody wants to know about this stuff, and every employer wants to be able to do these applications.
Part music player, part phone. It's easy to see how for a lot of students this would be 100% distraction. But the University of Saskatchewan believes that one day this may be the way we all compute.
The iPhone and its chief rival, the BlackBerry, are the leaders in the growing field of smartphones, basically handheld computers. Students are learning to build apps, programs that can do anything from the essential like banking or just trivial gaming. In-your-hand convenience, instructor Chad Jones says, may allow the smartphone to overtake the PC.
It may. For some people I've talked to, it already has, that they carry the iPhone or their particular smartphone with them at all times, and they have basically given up their computer at all. Yes, I can get information about that particular class.
Jones' own iPhone app, designed to help U of S students find classes, check grades, and follow news, is a hit on Apple's iStore. Other Canadian and American universities.
So this is really a paradigm change in a lot of ways. And, you know, the story went on to talk about, you know, what's the future in mobile and what's the future in education. And I think that we're still deciding that. We don't really know exactly how it's all going to go. But I think that, like, I was at Apple WWDC last week in San Francisco, and you could really see and tell that, like I was in the audience when Steve Jobs did the presentation of the new phone, the iPhone 4, and you could really see that he really thinks that laptops are even starting to move into the past. That it's going to be, yes, it's there, but pretty much iPad, iPhone, this is going to be the way that people communicate and use their devices. And I was sitting in a colleague in a coffee shop, and he said, why isn't the iPad going to take over? Why wouldn't it? And, you know, and I said, what about laptops? You need a keyboard and all this stuff. And he said, look around. What are these people doing? And we had a few people that were on Facebook, and a few people checking their email, and a few people surfing the web in general. These are all things that you can do on a mobile device like an iPad. An iPad costs a lot less than a laptop, and it provides some of the same functionality for what 90% of users want to do. So why would you need to have this large device that you have to carry around? Certainly there's always going to be power users. There's always going to be users that use their computer a lot, and they're going to need something like that. But there's a lot of users out there that, you know, the heaviest thing they'll ever do with a computer on a daily basis is surf the web. And there's a lot of devices out there that are coming that will be able to do that. So this is sort of, we don't know exactly where it's going to go, and I certainly don't have all the answers. But I can tell you that things are changing, which I guess you already knew. So our experience with iUsask, we had 3,000 downloads in the first 3 months, and we've had, I think it's almost 6,000 now, downloads of the application. And these are actual testimonials from people who use the application. They use the feedback button to send these in. And I just copied and pasted some of their comments and stuck it into a slide. And basically, people really like that we have an app and that it's well done, and that we're looking towards the future in terms of these technologies. And we've found some surprising things. We found that half the users are iPhone users, half of them are iPod Touch users. When we actually break that down into demographics, we find that the younger students usually are the ones with the iPod Touches. I guess just because they can't afford the more expensive iPhone with its data plan. Another interesting thing, for the first 6 months of the application that it was out, we only received 16 support calls. And of the 16, only 1 was actually forwarded to me. So I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just that we have a high-quality application, or maybe people don't expect to be able to receive support on an application like this. But we haven't had a lot of calls about it. So the 5,000, it should be higher, and we've had downloads from 45 different countries. Of the downloads, we've actually found that about half of those downloads have resulted in a unique login by a student on our campus, one with their username and password, so we absolutely know that's a student. And so new features that we're working on, and some of them we'll have done by the end of the summer. Some of these are almost already done and could be pushed out any day. So donations, That's a big one. When I talk to different campuses, they would love to be able to receive donations. I was talking about reconnecting with alumni, for example. Imagine you have alumni that you might never have communicated with at all, and then now that they see your application, they feel reconnected, maybe they're willing to make a donation to your campus. Buying tickets, that would be for sports games, for convocation, that kind of thing. Bus transit, students are very interested in that. Registering for classes, we were talking about that today. We might not be ready for that quite yet on our campus, but I know some campuses certainly are. And then one of the things that students think is exciting, maybe not to the people in this audience, but getting notifications when a grade is posted. So as soon as that grade is posted, you don't have to go and check it 20 times a day. You get a notification that says a new grade has been posted, and then you hit that little button, and it tells you what grade it was. Or maybe it's even on that first screen, that pop-up that says, new grade posted, 80 in whatever class. Right? So this is a new way of communicating, and it's that instant gratification that if the student chooses to register for those notifications, if they choose to turn that on, they find it immediately when something happens. I'll give you an example. You could have an instructor that has decided to post a change to an assignment or something that the student needs to know for whatever reason, and they would get that notification right away. Not something that they have to check, not something they'd have to wait and see. It's instant communication, which is where a lot of this is going. Okay? And so what went well? Well, I would say a lot of things went well. I mean, anytime that CBC wants to call you and say, we'd like to do a national story on you, that's probably a good thing. Hopefully, I hope it would be. So we saw the trend early, we moved quickly, and we worked with a system that tied all different groups together. I showed you that credit screen of all the different people that were part of the application, and I'm not sure how many are on there, but I'm sure it's over 100. And that's the people that have actually contributed to the project in some way or another to help make this happen. And so it's not a one-person effort, it's not even a one-team effort, it's a multi-team effort. Okay? And I would say that would be definitely one of the things that went well, just the general support. And it didn't happen instantly. Not everyone came on board at the start, but they saw the vision over time, and we were able to get it done. So what were some of the lessons learned? So make sure that you fully include all stakeholders. There can be cases where, I thought that, these 4 people that I talked to, or these 4 groups I talked to were the right people, and then, there was this 5th group that had to be involved as well that, for whatever reason, wasn't, right? So make sure you include everyone. When you have a tight deadline, especially when you're utilizing brand new technology, that can be tough. It can increase your costs and make it more difficult to get the thing out the door. And I'll give you an example. Like I said, I was at Apple WWDC last week. The new iPhone 4, that's a new technology that's coming out. We're going to have to spend at least a week, maybe 2, maybe 3, to update the app so that it works with the new phone that they released, or will be releasing at the end of the month, I should say. So there's constant changes, and certainly we are on the cutting edge. We're well ahead of many other places. I talked to a representative from Apple, and he said that he thought maybe we're 2 years ahead of many colleges and campuses in how well we've integrated our solutions. So anyways, and I think that's...
Yeah, and utilizing these technologies made it difficult to create accurate timelines.
Yeah.
Manager, I noticed that. It was very difficult to, especially with the MyMarks portion, we were using a lot of these technologies in there as well. I mean, the iPhone, of course, is new, but when it came to getting accurate timelines from the developers, it was new to them, so they didn't know exactly what to expect, the kind of problems they were going to run into, and even though we thought we had at the time, it never ended up being enough. So it was difficult to make those accurate estimates.
Yeah, so we've actually spun a separate company out of the University of Saskatchewan. I'm the CEO of that company, and I have the majority stake in it. And basically, we're going around and we're building iPhone and other mobile